In the fall of 2000, two entrepreneurs flew into Dallas, Texas, and walked into the corporate headquarters of the largest home entertainment company on Earth. Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph were burning through cash. Their 2-year-old DVD by mail service was bleeding money, so they offered to sell their startup to Blockbuster for $50 million. Blockbuster's executives listened to the pitch, and, according to the founders, the room could barely contain its amusement. The concept of mailing DVDs to a niche audience looked like a money-losing headache to a corporate giant generating $6 billion a year. 2 decades later, that rejected startup reached a valuation of over $150 billion. Blockbuster shrunk until only a single independently owned store remained in Bend, Oregon. This timeline created a dominant cultural myth. In this version of history, Blockbuster died as an arrogant, out-of-touch dinosaur that ignored the digital future. But the corporate records show a different story. CEO John Antioco recognized the existential threat of Netflix early on. By 2004, he convinced the company to spend $400 million on a massive counterattack. The strategy, called Total Access, fused Blockbuster's online delivery with its massive physical footprint. Subscribers could receive a movie in the mail and return it to a local store for a free rental. It was a hybrid model that Netflix could not match. The plan worked. By the fourth quarter of 2006, Blockbuster's hybrid program was adding subscribers faster than Netflix. If Blockbuster saw the threat and built a program that was actively beating Netflix, we have to look deeper to find what actually drove them into bankruptcy. Blockbuster's empire relied on physical retail dominance. At their peak, they operated over 9,000 stores worldwide, supported by a massive network of franchise owners. A massive portion of their income, nearly 16%, came from a single despised source: late fees. By the year 2000, this penalty system generated $800 million in annual revenue. Netflix's subscription model was a purpose-built weapon aimed at this specific revenue stream. By charging a flat monthly fee, Netflix eliminated late penalties entirely. The two companies operated on opposing metrics. Blockbuster measured success by physical store traffic and late fee collections, while Netflix tracked digital retention and used algorithms to personalize recommendations. This chart tracks annual churn rates from 2000 to 2010, while Netflix steadily decreased cancellations to 30%. To stop this attrition, John Antioco finally eliminated late fees in 2005 and launched Blockbuster Online. Transitioning to a digital subscription model required Blockbuster to voluntarily torch its highest margin revenue stream. This graph shows the immediate financial impact. Between 2002 and 2005, the company's gross profit plunged into the negative. Blockbuster still paid the overhead for 9,000 physical stores, an infrastructure that couldn't be scaled down fast enough to offset the missing late fee cash. Blockbuster's leadership was willing to endure this massive short-term financial pain to secure long-term survival. Their investors were not. Activist investor Carl Icahn used this short-term revenue hit to gain control of Blockbuster's board. Icahn prioritized immediate cash extraction and physical retail dividends. He viewed Antioco's digital investments as an expensive drain on cash flow. The sabotage reached its peak in 2007. Just as Total Access was beating Netflix in growth, the Icahn-controlled board forced Antioco out of the company over a bonus dispute. His successor, Jim Keyes, immediately cut the online budget and declared that Netflix was not on his radar. He chained the company back to its physical stores. This chart tracks the total revenue for both companies. After the digital pivot was abandoned, Blockbuster's revenue collapsed, ending in a 2010 bankruptcy. In 2010, the lines diverge. Netflix's revenue climbs towards $7 billion, just as the Blockbuster data line terminates. Blockbuster's demise resulted from a corporate governance structure that fired the one man who had already proven he could beat Netflix. Following the bankruptcy, Dish Network bought Blockbuster's assets for $320 million and inherited $1 billion in debt. Dish attempted to launch several streaming and kiosk hybrids, but the momentum was gone. By 2014, they shuttered every remaining corporate store. The outcome was decided by the structural differences between the two firms. Netflix's governance allowed it to lose money in the present to build the platform of the future. Blockbuster operated under a system of franchisees and activist investors. That structure demanded the preservation of legacy profits, creating a straitjacket that made adaptation impossible. The massive physical scale and profitable penalty fees that made Blockbuster dominant became the exact mechanisms that prevented it from surviving.